Day 23.
Day 23 of the 31 Days of August recording challenge.
And we actually found a couple people to come hang out with us on day 23.
Yeah, we were getting a bit lonely. But yeah, Stuart's back.
And Judith as well. So Stuart, go ahead. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll hear from Judith, and then we can dive in.
I think everyone's bored sick of me now. My name's Stuart Mitchell. I'm the director of Catch the Mice. Traditionally, we've been a representation company, representing privately owned hotels and venues and destinations for years. But during lockdown and during the whole pandemic, we moved over to virtual platforms, and we are now the strategic partner of Intelligo and VII in the UK, as well as going back to live representing venues and destinations across the globe. And over to Judith, because I've known Judith. I met Judith during lockdown.
Actually, we've all met a lot of people during lockdown. And
haven't we? I know. Some stuck around. That was a bit frightening.
But have you ever met in person?
Yeah, we have.
Oh, yeah.
We have now. Yeah.
Many times.
A few times.
All right. So Judith, who are you?
So I'm the director of EVENTIT in Scotland. Our main focus is we run Scotland's only events trade show for the mice sector. It's an annual trade show. We're now going into our 6th year, and we also do a host of other kind of key events. A big strategic conference, which is in December, some awards, and then a number of training events. A lot of those we've put online now. So that's in a nutshell who we are.
There you go. And so, Stuart, how are you guys intertwined now? Because you have a lot of cool partners. I've got to say that. So how are the two of you now connected?
Well, I guess I don't really know. Really, I know a lot of people. and what happened was, I think during that whole disaster of the pandemic which hit our market, I did some work with EVENTIT, mental health support for our sector, and Judith was extremely supportive at that stage. That was early on, I think it was. That was 6 months into lockdown.
That was through our magazine. That was through our magazine, Event Space.
And then from there on, we got chatting. I came along and supported and spoke at your event on the first year. I think that was 2021, was it? I can't remember.
Yeah, that was last September.
And then, seems 5 minutes ago. And then we got talking about the VII platform, this kind of whole virtual world, and we created a virtual EVENTIT world, really. And over to you, Judith, to say how it developed, really.
Yeah, so we've been looking at a variety of things, as everyone did, kind of through the pandemic. And I was somewhat skeptical. We didn't want to immediately just put everything online. We did a few training events throughout the pandemic on a variety of different sort of platforms. Test drove quite a few, looked at a lot. And then decided that, we did want to do something. We liked the look of VII. We were kind of, I'm sure my arm was twisted somewhere down the line, but
a long way.
It's been brilliant. And I have to say,
so maybe that's the real reason security's coming for you, Stuart.
Yeah, the team were brilliant at VII, and we kind of worked on very much what we were looking for, because we wanted something. We always felt we wanted to go back into in-person events in the main, certainly for our trade show. While I kind of feel I really like that we've got virtual booths on the platform, and it's great to augment a lot of the stuff that we do. But I think the biggest business is actually done in the in-person trade show. But having this platform has been brilliant, because it just means we can connect with our audience and our community all year round now. We don't have to wait for these in-person events. We can do a lot of stuff. We've been doing a lot of training events. We've got content online. We've done some showcase events. We've got virtual booths. And as I say, that's been great, because it's given us, that's meant we can our reach is much greater. Obviously, like everyone else who's used virtual, you've got an audience all over the world now, which is fantastic. And so it's got our name out to all sorts of people like you guys that have perhaps never heard of us before.
Yeah. And it's funny because everyone really looks, and you look at it the right way, right? Everyone, so many people in the industry are looking at in-person and virtual as two completely different things when they don't have to be, right? They don't, you can blend the world between them and both have their place.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. And I think that's where I think people have got, I don't know, they've got either really scared of one or the other. And it's kind of like, we're never going back to in person, or, we've had enough of doing virtual. I think they serve a slightly different purpose. And they're both really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're still trying to find our way with them, to be honest, as to exactly how best to use them. But,
Can I just sidetrack slightly? Because the last couple of years, 2.5 years, COVID's obviously ravaged everybody in the event industry. And whenever I listen to anything on the news or looking at blog posts or tweets and whatever, it's always sort of UK, but they're really talking about London. How is Scotland weathered? How are the event planners in Scotland done?
I think we've been much the same, to be honest, as across the rest of the UK. In some respects, we've won out because we've got so much green space. And so there's been a lot of things for things like incentives, for any team building, for anything that's got social programs. It's brilliant because people have been able to do a lot more stuff. We've got a lot more open space than London does. So a lot of people started looking north, which was great. And, again, we've got some of the big association events are coming back. Some of them are nervous. We've got the Americans. They're all starting to come back now.
My people are going to Scotland.
They're all coming back over the pond. And obviously Scotland's really important to the American market, and the American market's really important to us.
Yeah, I got to say, I have been to the UK. I just got back a month ago. So, Americans are coming back and we're traveling.
That's cool.
It took us a while to be fair, Bob. We were under slightly different restrictions to England for quite a long time.
True. Yeah, true.
And at the end of the day, that caused some issues with our sector because it took us a lot longer. We were forced to take longer to come out of the pandemic.
Yeah, and sadly, a lot of companies sort of disappeared over that time because just couldn't survive.
So, Stuart.
Yes.
EVENTIT. I see it now. Given where you are in a place with a little bit of shaky Wi-Fi.
I've got very bad Wi-Fi. I've actually at a venue at the moment. I can show you this. I'm actually at a real live proper venue with grass, which I shouldn't show you that. The reason
don't show that, you'll be arrested.
We had a chat off air earlier, and I was in this room. I've come in, sneak into the room, which can look onto the pitch here, and two security guys came in and said, "You're not allowed to video the pitch." So I'm going to show you what the pitch is. There we are. So just breaking rules because I like to be a risk breaker. But I've hijacked the public Wi-Fi, so I'm not on the venue Wi-Fi. So I'm on a very dodgy signal. So I apologize for that. And if I get pulled off, Bob and Keith are going to be laughing, and Judith are going to be laughing their socks off because this will probably make the bullet list.
We're going live every day in August. That will make it the best episode of the whole.
Oh, absolutely. Most entertaining as you get dragged away by the collar. That'd be brilliant.
So, and I know we were going to show folks around the EVENTIT platform and what we're doing. You think the Wi-Fi there will handle it?
You know what it should do. Even on public Wi-Fi, we should be able.
Oh, we said we should be able to do it, and he's frozen.
To get some access here. Let's.
You're coming and going, Stuart. You're coming and going.
Ken's screen.
Oh, there we go.
We got it.
Oh, there we go.
Whether we can get a virtual
platform. That's EVENTIT.
So we have a virtual Jude here, who might speak.
Welcome to the event. Oh no, please, no.
We had fun recording that green screen, I can assure you. So I'll show you around. I'll just do a little bit of a wander around. So Judith briefed us and she said she wanted something to showcase Edinburgh. So we'll go in here and hopefully will be on an Edinburgh rooftop, and it's not raining.
That is cool. Well done.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah. Stop
So I'm
raining
going to
in
take you
Scotland,
into a
that's cool.
little exhibition booth, so I can go into our nice exhibition booth with some really nice little assets, downloadable fact sheets, videos, etc., etc. Let me take you back, and I'll go back into our lobby.
So, and now this is open year round?
So I guess
Yeah.
Judith gave us a...
Okay.
Yeah. Judith, do
So
you want to
just
talk
need
through
to-
the brief, and I can show some of the areas?
Yeah, so basically we wanted somewhere that gave a little bit more from our exhibitors' point of view, from our trade show. We wanted to give them a bit more exposure throughout the year. So we were able to do some sort of small showcase events on that rooftop. We also then have a showroom, which Stuart was on his way round to, but I think he got lost on the way.
Yeah, you're there. No, that's fine.
So there's a showroom which actually has the virtual booths of our exhibitors now. So it just means people can have a good kind of nosy round, see who's on board, have a little look at some of their assets, some of their videos and things like that, as Stuart showed you on the one for Catch the Mice. And then we've done a lot of learning and education sessions. We did them at EVENTIT last year. We're doing them now in our webinars. So we've got a content library that shows all of these on demand, which is really important so that people can keep up to date with all the things that we have actually done over the year. And then we've got a number of videos that, we've got the highlights video from EVENTIT last year. We've got a highlights video from our fam trip. So we do a fam trip that goes with EVENTIT. So, anyone who's interested in coming up to see us, we've got trains coming up from London. So yeah, come and join us. And we also then did some recording, the EVENTIT TV that's up on the wall there. We did some recordings, kind of like full-scale interviews with some of the key people in our sector when they were up at EVENTIT last year. So again, those are there, and it's just things for people to constantly be able to use through the year. And it's a space that we can keep. And then we've got the auditorium, which is where our webinars are currently happening. So the next one that's coming up, that event design has been, but the next one that's coming up is on sustainability. So it's been great. And as I say, it just gives us that extra dimension to our business, because it means that we can go and we can continue throughout the year. Whatever happens, we can keep talking to our community.
Well, and this is a prime example of using virtual the right way, right? If you have to go all virtual, you can, but if you're in person, it is a nice complement to that, especially because this thing lives on and on and on. If I go to a live event, and let's say that I met with a couple of exhibitors, it is a nice way. I don't have to be taking notes and business cards and all of that. I know that this information lives here, and I can just go back and revisit their info, right? And then, all of that's there. So it is a nice compliment. And then obviously for the people that can't make it to the in-person event, this is a great way for them to participate with everyone else.
Yeah, and we've also got a networking tool on there as well. So it does mean that people can then, network when they're on the site. I mean, ideally the networking only really happens when we have a live event, but, obviously there are people there, you can still connect with them, leave messages and all the rest of it. So it's been a brilliant tool. And as I say, we keep developing it. The guys at VII have been just fantastic to work with. Stuart's quite good to work with as well, but I mean, the team at
Thank you, Judith. The feeling's mutual.
Wow. And again, looking at, what we were talking about a little earlier on sustainability, right? This is one of the things that people can do to lower their footprint. Not everybody has to travel to be here. No,
exactly. And it makes it also more, sustainable and accessible, because again, there's a lot of people who, we all know that they don't really like to go to big crowded spaces. And the fact that they were much happier during the pandemic, And it's not right that we suddenly just knock them back in and sort of say, well, I'm sorry, it was great while the pandemic was on, we were all doing things from home, but now, we're no longer interested in you guys. It's really important that we're still doing events that are inclusive for everyone.
I was going to say accessibility is still important, because there are still people with health issues. There are still people who don't want to be in a crowd.
No, never did.
They've got their own concerns. Well, yeah, but they still want to take part. They still want to be there as best they can. So it's really cool.
And it's amazing how many events, right? Because, I'm a third-party planner, so I work with a lot of different clients. And it is amazing how many have a very staunch in-person only attitude 6 months out. But as we're getting 3 months out, they're like, we might want to revisit hybrid, because so many of the attendees are like, no, we're not going to go. We want that virtual component, which everybody should have access to,
Or you make things different. You make certain events different. I think some events, some occasions only really suit in person, and some suit far better just virtual. And I think that's where I don't think everything has to be hybrid. I don't think everything has to be one or the other. I think it's being realistic. We never had one event fits all. And I think we just have to accept that, online now is part of the toolkit. It's the equivalent of another venue or another shed load of venues and an awful lot of opportunities.
Well, and I think it turns events into communities. Yeah. Because now because it can live 365 days a year, you have the opportunity to engage with people as you're doing, with the webinars and things like that in the build up to the actual in-person event, and it keeps people in there all the time, where it used to be was, if your event was September 1st to 3rd, you didn't think about people again until the registration opened the next June or whatever it was, where now you can actually be interacting with them, and you're always top of mind in their head.
Oh, I don't know. Who have we lost now?
Oh, no, he's gone.
You've lost me, I think.
That is where they're going for important information.
Yeah.
We lost you there for a minute. We're starting to think that security's come to your place.
Great, and that was my moment. And I can't recreate it. So I was actually just talking about community, right? And that it enables your event to become a 365-day-a-year community, which keeps you top of mind.
I guess.
But it also means that by doing stuff online, you get to know them better. Sorry, Stuart, you get to know them better, and it helps you then design your next events more to suit your industry, to suit your audience, rather than each year going, oh my God, I wonder what they want this time.
Yeah, you can iterate through quite nicely. Yeah. And also, because obviously that applies to the sustainability side of things, because having like a 365 available environment for people to explore, people can actually come at their leisure, so they don't have to fly in or take a heavy carbon-based transport system to come and fly in. They can just take a look at the platform and explore it for themselves wherever they happen to be.
I think from my perspective, it was one of the things which I hate about virtual exhibitions is, quite frankly, when you go to a virtual exhibition booth, no one is ever on it to man it. And that's the thing. No one's there, never. Even when you've got it planned, you go to try and have a meeting, and unfortunately, someone's been called away from their desk, and they don't actually respond to your inquiries. I think that what I love about Judith when she came and the team when they started planning the EVENTIT platform is they wanted to have a link on there so that.
Oh, I'll carry on so that people could do
you can arrange a meeting at your leisure to follow up.
If anybody ever wanted proof that this is a live thing, that none of this is being recorded, this is a great demo of that. So we're doing well.
It's a double act here.
Yeah. And Judith, we should go off, Judith, and just let these two talk for a bit. It's our turn. Yeah. Yeah. Keep going, guys. But anyway, Judith, you've got a sustainability event coming up soon, haven't you?
We do. We've got a webinar on Thursday. So,
Cool.
which again is, we're looking at a variety of things from actually the all-encompassing as to kind of designing and doing events that are more regenerative events, and having a real sort of impact with your events, right through to what the EICC are doing as a venue with regards to a lot of their sustainability side, what they've got a package they're working with to help regenerate the peat bogs in Scotland, and also they're really key on their food and ensuring that the sort of options they've got, and they work really closely with quite a few of the different charities and groups within Edinburgh and beyond, whether that's on kind of food, giving out food that's kind of extra from an event. And I mean, we've got a brilliant place here. It's a farm. It's called Gorgie Farm. It's a city farm, and basically, any food to them. And if it can't, they've also got a food bank. So if it can't be used in the food bank, it can be fed to the animals. And they said, worst case, pigs will generally eat any of it. But worst case, they also do. They have their own. they create compost as well, and do. They create their own garden as well for vegetables. So there's a whole load of things that people are really working with to try and make more sustainable events. And we're just kind of touching the surface of some of them on Thursday.
Yeah, and I think it's really good to see sustainability coming back into the conversation. And I think this time around, it's going to stick. I know that we had talked about it back in like 2005 and things like that. And people talked about sustainability and, how to make your meetings green and things like that. Everyone listened, but nothing really happened, right? But now it seems that there are actual changes happening to coincide with all of us actually talking about sustainability and green meetings again, so it is good to see.
And from a representation point of view, one of the reasons I'm so pleased to have teamed up with EVENTIT is that the FAM trip that we're doing, part of the Mice Club FAM trip or some of the trips, is we're not flying people up to Edinburgh. We're actually bringing them on a train. So we're trying to do a sustainable FAM trip as well. So it's kind of the whole message goes throughout the whole dialogue really.
And once they're up in Edinburgh, they need to walk from place to place. In the main, they're walking from place to place. And we're also working with a fantastic group called Invisible Cities. And what they do is they train homeless people to become city guides. So it gives them kind of experience. It gives them a purpose. It gives them confidence. And so they're kind of pushing these people through that. They've also got a brilliant kind of their own insight to the cities because they've obviously been homeless. And so a lot of them, they're hoping will then go into other parts of the hospitality sector. So by using them as guides, it's helping to give some funding. And then, it means they can bring in more homeless people to put through this. So all of that we're incorporating into our FAM trip.
That is cool. I mean, that is a fantastic idea. And then to your train, bringing people up by train, we did an event once in Southern Illinois down by St. Louis, and we had to train people down from Chicago. So we actually rented the whole train car, and we actually did a session on the train as people were going down to the event. So, because it's about a 3.5 hour ride, because we don't have fast trains like you do. But
it's about 4.5 hours from London to Scotland.
Right, but you're moving. Here, our trains, they're not that quick.
Yeah,
There's a lot of refreshment time.
So tell us a little bit about the, I know we only have about 5 minutes left, but about the upcoming event and a little bit more about the FAM trip for anyone that's interested in actually attending or going on the FAM. How are they going to find out about that?
They can come directly to myself, or they can go and speak to Stuart and come with his Mice Club.
If he's not in jail.
As when they let him out on bail, you can talk to Stuart.
No, it's a fabulous trip. I've got highly recommend it. The Scottish hospitality that was put on last year was phenomenal. Judith, you may want to point out a couple of highlights that you've got.
Yeah, so people we do a safari dinner around Edinburgh, so they get to kind of see quite a few different venues that include the likes of the Johnny Walker Experience, a little bit of whiskey. We also will be going to see the new Virgin Hotel. First Virgin Hotel outside of America that has opened very recently in Edinburgh, and also get to go to a number of other different highlights on the way. And then they're staying in lots of different accommodations, and then obviously you get to come to the show on the Tuesday, and that's when we've got exhibitors from all over the UK at that, and some overseas ones, and so it's just a great day to come out. Then there's got the campfire sessions where a lot of the people who've done our webinars are there really to do the more Q&A bit, and so that they can kind of delve deeper into some of the topics from that. And it's free to attend. We just qualify who's coming to make sure they are proper buyers for our sector. But we do.
No, and I mean that's great, right? There's no barrier to entry as long as you're qualified. You can go, that's great.
And they can also come over and see us at Catch the Mice and learn a little bit more about VII and Intelligo, of course. But also we've got a stand, which we've got a couple of spaces left for any hotels that want to come and join us on our stand for representation. So if anyone's a hotel out there that wants to be represented at the show, give me a call afterwards.
Yeah, and for any Americans, that have the opportunity to go, all you got to do is get to London.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And then take the train up with everybody else. I think, which is fantastic.
And tie it in with other business and things over here.
Yeah,
and it's a great way to see the rest of the UK, not just hang around London. So
yeah.
Well, you guys have got URLs and links and website addresses. We'll try and put as many of those relevant ones into the show notes when we're done.
Cheers, Bob. Thanks, Keith.
Fantastic, guys. It was great having you on. I was actually skeptical if we could do it in about 30 minutes, and I think we did, even with little internet things going on.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't use public Wi-Fi.
Well, and then in the middle of a 30-day run at going live every day, don't go into construction. That's
that's an important thing. So basically, we thank you very much, Stuart and Judith, for taking part in episode 23, the 23rd day of our 31 Days of August recording challenge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
And to everybody, we will see you tomorrow, and we'll put links to all of this. We'll include that on Facebook and YouTube. We'll make sure it's in the show notes. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and sign off. Bob?
Okay.